And for more here, Major Garrett joins us now from our Washington bureau. And Major, do want to start with Carrier. We know the deal is going to keep close to 1,000 jobs in the United States. In return, the company is going to receive incentives estimated to be in the millions. What then will critics say about this agreement?
A couple of things. One, the labor force in the United States is 159 million, and 1,000 jobs, while important, is a small element of that larger labor force. And if the cost of that is millions of dollars in tax incentives provided by the state of Indiana, or suggestions of large-scale corporate tax cuts, ends of regulations at the federal government, or potential federal contracts, maybe too much was offered to one company to so deeply incentivize it to protect 1,000 jobs, a small amount in that larger U.S. labor force. But politically, Josh, the symbolism of this as an act carried out by the president-elect and his team before they even take office on behalf of American manufacturing workers will eclipse all of those criticisms. American voters and American workers will say, this guy promised us that he would be a deal maker, and he's made a deal. And 1,000 jobs that were going to go somewhere else, in this case Mexico, are staying in America. And at that level, at that very essential political level, this will be viewed, I'm sure, across the country as an initial success. One thing that will have to be determined over time, and because this precedent has now been established, do other companies threaten to leave, thereby seeking the same incentives at the state or federal level? Does a conversation along the lines of threat and incentive bedevil a Trump administration trying to keep jobs here? Do you set this up as an ongoing conversation where the threat of moving jobs becomes a way to incentivize tax breaks or other inducements to stay in the United States? That is something that could be a problem for a Trump administration, and it's one of the reasons previous presidents have not gone down this road, because it can become a kind of a conspicuous feedback loop where the threat of leaving creates an incentive or near panic to keep a company in a state or a region of the United States. We will have to see. But for the moment, it is a short-term winner across the board.
And a symbolism that could beget so much more. Meanwhile, Major, the visit to the Carrier plant is going to precede the president-elect's first thank you tour rally, if you will, tonight in Ohio. What to expect?
Well, a big crowd and a great enthusiastic welcome, and the president-elect saying, see, I told you this was a movement. You believed, you went to the polls, and American democracy worked, and it ought to be celebrated. The larger import of this is for the president-elect to go to every battleground state that was crucial to his ultimate victory and send a message to every member of Congress in the Senate and in the House. I draw crowds, I'm a potent political force, and I'm going to build every bit of political capital I can before I'm inaugurated. So once we start tussling, my administration and members of Congress, Republican and Democrat, about the underlying details of my legislative policy, you're going to know I draw crowds and I've got political clout and I intend to use it. That's what these rallies are really all about, a demonstrative and visible signal that this is a popular president-elect. And he draws big crowds, and he was a leader of a movement, and that political message will be sent to Capitol Hill as unmistakably as this president-elect and his team can create.
Major, as for cabinet positions yet to be filled, one interesting name that we're seeing, Sarah Palin, reportedly under consideration for Secretary of Veterans Affairs. How legitimate is her candidacy?
She is under consideration. So are many others, and that's an important distinction. You cannot, based on my reporting, classify Sarah Palin as a leading candidate for either Veterans Affairs Secretary or Interior Secretary. Those are the two cabinet agencies she has been recently identified with. I'm told her consideration is theoretical in that she's not discounted, but others are ahead of her in the pecking order for both of those cabinet positions. She has a possibility, but not a probability of being chosen as a cabinet secretary either for Veterans Affairs or Interior.
Major Garrett, as always, we appreciate the time.
Thanks.